So, Rich, are you ready to get epic?
I'm thinking more about getting unepic myself.
I can see what you did there. What a perfect segue that was. We're getting better at this. Aside, we're not getting better at this. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tangential Recreation here on the Geek Planet Online channel. I am Matt Dillon. I am joined, as always, by my stalwart companion in the dungeon crawling experience, Mr. Richard Cobbett.
Greetings, internet masses.
Oh, yay. Oh, yeah. I don't know where that came from. Yes. So, this is Tangential Recreation, the literal chat show in which we just let the rambling happen. We start with last week's ending subject, and we let the conversation take us wherever it may. We have 60 minutes on the clock, and while we're doing this, we'll be playing a game. In this week's game, we are playing UnEpic, which is attempting to replicate the role-playing experience, complete with shirty power-tripping DMs, on a platforming game, or a platforming platform, or what have you. Richard hates it already, so that's a good start.
It didn't. It made me mess around with my controller. It doesn't take much to start a grudge going.
It asked him to do calibrations, and as we all know, only Garrus can ask Richard to do calibrations.
Well, he's so hot.
He is so hot. So, the timer will start going, the 60-minute time will start going. The moment I remind Richard what last week's ending subject is, although I suspect he remembers because it was his fault.
Fault? We're not spreading blame on this thing. It's like, kind of, oh yes, last week, that was my fantastic segue. Now, this one is your fault.
So
what have you got that's cheerier than mental health there, Matt?
You shut up. You shut up. So, we are starting with the subject of Game of Thrones nudity. Off we pop. So, Rich, do you like boobs?
I would say that in Game of Thrones I'm starting to get a bit immune to them at this point.
I was going to say, you have to ask the question, do I like boobs? Because, to be quite frank, I don't think there's any full frontal male nudity.
I think there's been some. I think at one point the guy who betrayed Daenerys was sort of dragged behind some horses. That's the only example I can think of.
Was that our only example of man knob?
It's the only one I can think of. The kind of a bit like True Blood. They sort of tend to use the whole modesty socks thing.
Damn it! You killed my daughter.
It happens, but I didn't kill Rita. Or the deputy.
No. But you did shoot the sheriff.
I'm going to say I think probably the most notable thing with kind of the nudity in Game of Thrones is, the end of the last series with sort of Cersei's shame walk thing. Yeah.
Yes.
There's been a lot of interviews with Lena Headey, kind of like, how did that feel to film? And of course you sort of say, well, obviously it felt terrible. I want to see some interviews with her body double, who, let's face it, had by far the worst job on that.
Yes. Well, days of CG and all that, but it was very cleverly done, I will say.
It was sort of cleverly done, except for the fact that there seems to be a pose whenever they're doing that trick now. It's like it's always kind of very, very clear and kind of always sort of fairly obvious when it's just a head being transplanted.
Yeah.
And it just kind of amused with the kind of all of the interviews with sort of things like, how it was to be kind of walking through town and being shouted and spat on by people. It's like, well, at least you've got a towel. It's like, your poor body double had to kind of put up with all of that stuff, without.
Yeah. That scene was, as with a lot of things these days with Game of Thrones, was very controversial. The show, of course, has been routinely accused of using rape only for shock value and not to further the plot. This seems to happen when it's stuff that's been invented for the TV show.
I didn't see anyone complaining about the penance walk. It was kind of more the bit with Sansa, because obviously that's not in the books. And
but here's the thing with that. Okay, I'm still on the fence about that because I've heard arguments on both. Oh crikey!
Ooh, those are some bad bats. Almost as bad as the port of Arkham Knight.
Nice. We are not segueing back to that,
I am
sir.
still bitter.
As you should be. Yeah, I've heard arguments on both sides. I've heard arguments for it being a very misogynistic thing. I've heard arguments saying actually it's not what it's not what people are saying it is because X, Y, and Z. And
well, I think the problem with the Sansa one was kind of like a double whammy, that it's not in the books, which in itself isn't, I don't think, a huge deal. I think the more reasonable argument was that it wasn't about her; it was about Theon. And I think in that one there's a lot more of a case to be made, because if it was her accepting kind of doing politics or something tragic which would lead to her doing something, that would feel more fitting for what they've been doing. That it's kind of like the last straw for Theon, and making it his story, that is kind of where you're kind of getting into women in refrigerators territory, and I kind of see why people were cross about that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I read a comment from one online source, I forget where now, to be brutally honest, which was taking exception to the fact that because you can't see it happening, it's considered to be taking away from Sansa's experience, that the visual overrides the audible.
I don't think there's a lot to be said about that, just because you can do that kind of scene with just audio, you can do it with cutaways. I think it kind of comes into who is the focal point of that particular scene, and it's just not Sansa. It's there to tell us something that we already know about Ramsay, which doesn't really need reinforcing again. All of the action sort of take place on the part of Theon, and it's to a large extent it cuts down on sort of Sansa's growing story, of her kind of growing political sort of savvy and kind of what she's willing to kind of get ahead on in that kind of horrible world, and it just felt that scene could have been done and been fine, I think.
After you,
but it has to be about Sansa. There we go. Another tedious trap. Yeah, I don't like this game. I have a fairly low tolerance for that kind of Kaizo bullshit, unless it's a straight up Kaizo game.
Oh dear. Kaizo.
Kaizo, you know Kaizo?
No.
Okay, basically Kaizo is usually used for... it's a series of Mario mods, although kind of a lot of the tricks it uses have kind of gone into the general kind of vocabulary. Basically, it's several series of brutally hard... effectively, you absolutely have to use save states to get through these kind of levels designs. The very first one is you start off... I'm just going to kill a thing before I can do the hand gesture that I require. There we go. Now, the first one you sort of start in like a tiny, tiny column of bricks, and then it drops a thwomp on you, and that's the intro. It's like a sort of straight up, welcome. When it first sort of took off, a few people put it on YouTube under the name Asshole Mario, and that's kind of also very fair. But the cool thing about Kaizo is it's not just brutally hard levels. I mean, they are. I mean, they're
magic cheese.
I mean, they're sort of like astonishingly hard. But it's they do really clever tricks. So there's things, for example, where you played Super Mario World, right? You must have done.
Oh yes.
Well, you know how basically when you hit the goalpost at the end, then Mario kind of goes through. He gives the victory sign, and then he sort of toddles off to the end of that. Well, Kaizo obviously has the same thing, but the guy who makes Kaizo knows that Mario can still die, and so he'll do something like put a death field right after the flag, so that Mario, outside of your control, just toddles off and kills himself, and so you've got to restart the level. And so there's different things, like kind of maybe it turns out you need to find a secret exit. If you take the main one, then you die. Or there's what's called a Kaizo lock. It's something like that, which is basically you have to have a P switch running, and sometimes it's got to be precisely timed, so that because there'll be like different layers of things that'll kill you. There's another one called the Kaizo combination lock, where you have to kind of do all sorts of different things to kind of get the precise sort of setup that you need. How do you get out of this stuff? I'm assuming
I don't know.
We can't, so I'm going to use the halo and beam back to the thing.
I guess that's what we're doing. Oops.
If I can remember, what am I doing? Sorry, the menu popped up, and I'm not sure why I can't get rid of it. There we go. And so, yeah, there's kind of all these sort of Kaizo traps and sort of Kaizo routines, and it's been sort of taken to other games as well. But generally, it's sort of Super Mario World kind of gets the bulk of it. And it'll be things like kind of getting across an entire level where you have to sort of spin jump over the back of on the back of things, or when you try to do a jump, which seems impossible, it turns out there's actually hidden blocks everywhere just to kind of make it even harder. So you have to know which exact pixel you can jump through without triggering the hidden block. I'm really looking forward to Mario Maker. I think we're going to see a lot of this stuff.
Yes, I suspect you're right as well. Yeah, I mean, finishing my point on the whole Sansa thing, like I say, I guess I'm kind of on the fence. I guess I'd slide towards the sort of uncomfortableness of it. I mean, it is plot development, but it's not Sansa's plot development, and it undermines the development that she had.
And that's the problem. It really, all we're kind of getting is that Theon, again finds something which he, can't stand. But yeah, we've kind of done that. It's like it's been how many seasons? It's about time that Sansa got to actually do something. So you keep on waiting for it to kind of, step up and kind of become more of an active figure, and it's just not happening yet.
No, I guess not.
Now, I think the argument I've got kind of no tolerance for is, bad
sugar.
things happen in real life. And it's like, well, yes, but in fiction they have to have a point because that's how storytelling works.
I died because I could not recharge my wand.
There's pills for that.
little blue ones.
Yeah, as seen on True Detective, the show about masculinity and what a pathetic thing it is.
Nice. Let's see. Can I recharge this? No, that's a potion of mine.
Notably, it's a thing which The Witcher 3 tends to get really well done. In that while kind of the world is sort of always sort of said to be like dark and bleak, and it often is. I mean, bad stuff happens in that universe. It's also kind of always undercut with this sort of sense of warmth and friendship. And the idea that maybe things wouldn't turn out great on their own, but the right person, the right place can at least make a difference, even if not fix everything. And so also they are a lot warmer than they generally get credit for.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do think that the makers of the TV version are guilty about using the abuse of women in any sort of format.
Well, I think it's also
for shock value, but then, in fairness, so does George R.R. Martin. I'm sorry, but he does.
He does, but he doesn't generally take as much kind of sort of glittering voyeuristic glee over it. Whereas the show kind of, with the whole sex position stuff and kind of a lot of the stuff that it adds, and it's like sometimes it's fine, I think when it's someone like, say, Littlefinger is sort of in a brothel or whatever talking about his stuff, fine. I mean, that's, what you can imagine Littlefinger doing. But sometimes it just feels like they're trying to meet a quota.
Well, mayhap they are.
I mean, there's notably...
Okay, so I've just discovered... Sorry.
A quote from one of the writers or producers or directors, something like that, where basically saying that he wanted to do a particular scene without that stuff, and basically had one of the higher-ups sort of say, I'm representing the perverts and the audience. I want you to do this, to have this be a topless scene or whatever.
I've just found out, incidentally, that if you find a coffin and use it, it's a respawn point.
Oh, right, okay.
Your name appears above it, and it's where you respawn. And there is one in this door down here. So, yeah, anyway, that's my kind of thing. The thing is it enough to get me to start watching Game of Thrones? No. Did I feel uncomfortable watching the scene? Yes. Did I get any enjoyment out of the scene? No. I understood the story it was trying to tell, even if it didn't really need telling, but I did not enjoy it. I couldn't tell upon the first viewing whether or not that was the point. I realised after the second viewing that no, that wasn't the point. I was meant to be shocked. Elven pants!
I think part of the problem is I find Ramsay Bolton really, really boring.
Oh, really? There's a bow in there.
Yeah,
if you want it.
These guys. No, I kind of find that for me he's sort of too cartoonish.
It's made me unable to watch Misfits ever again.
He's also in that other show with what do you call it? Derek Jacobi and Ian McKellen.
Vicious?
Vicious, that's it. He sort of plays the neighbour.
Oh, does he?
I've only ever seen one episode of it, but that kind of amused me immensely. It was like, oh, come on, let me do my thing, otherwise I'll flay you alive and murder all your friends and family.
Oh, that's interesting. If there's a dead torch, you can light it using your lighter by pressing the action button, which is cool. I suspect that's what we're supposed to be doing, is lighting torches as we go along.
Yeah.
To light areas up.
Sounds like a good waste of good fire.
Let's use the magic cheese. Well, that's done nothing.
It gave you 50 health points.
Well, yes, it has. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, that's what's health anyway.
Exactly. So yes, no, it was meant to shock, and that was a little distasteful. But yeah, again, in a show that's full of things like that, some of which have a point, some of which don't.
I mean, I think for me, I just got bored of it a couple of seasons ago. I mean, just in general, I know the story because I've read the books, and it just kind of got to the point where I'm good, I'm fine. I've got like the whole last series recorded. I still haven't even seen the first episode because I just couldn't be bothered.
I still find it one of the best things on television. I think maybe ultimately that's why it's such a shame that it draws the controversy that it does, because it doesn't, as you pointed out, it doesn't need to. It's a good enough show anyway.
With my usual thing with fan service, I don't mind you having. I don't mind shows having their fun with fan service. I mean, I think fan service can be really entertaining. It can be it's usually perfectly harmless. It's if it fits the thing which you're doing, and ideally. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Sorry.
My tolerance for these games is low. It's yeah, no, I think it's sort of fine. Fans, like, if you're doing it for a reason, and kind of it all fits, and ideally, to some extent, it's equal opportunity fan service for shows which will kind of warrant it. Then that's all fine. I think with Thrones, it's just that I'm not watching you because you'll show me naked ladies. It's like I kind of actually do quite like the story, and I sort of want to see where that goes. And I just kind of got to the point where every time we would sort of wheel into another brothel, just to do that, it's like, oh. It's like, seen it! Could we maybe make some progress on this plot?
We can light the sconces on the walls as well, which is handy. It's done the Zelda thing.
Which is?
Sometimes lighting torches it will cause other effects. In this case, lighting all the other torches. So that's good to know.
I always think it's fascinating how people always sort of say that you can't do a show without that kind of stuff these days. But then you look at
Who says that? Seriously, who says that?
You sort of like sort of mature kind of storytelling. It's like, it's fine, it's mature, it's what people expect.
No, that's bollocks, because that's the same mistake that Torchwood made. It misunderstood bad language and boobs.
Well, Torchwood made the mistake of doing everything wrong. But I was thinking the counterexample I was going to use was Breaking Bad. Which notably kind of had nudity in its pilot, but then its network basically just didn't let them have bad language, didn't let them have nudity, and the result was still an amazing show, which nobody objected to the lack of that stuff. No, Torchwood was just a fail from start to finish.
I think that's a little harsh. The first season of Torchwood
was ghastly bad.
Was largely abysmal, with a couple of half-decent episodes.
Notably written by people who had nothing to do with Torchwood.
Notably written by people that weren't Chris Chibnall.
Yeah, well, Chris Chibnall is the worst writer working in genre fiction right now. In fact, his name appearing at the start of an episode gives me a chill up my spine that I cannot sort of solve with a million baths. But, Torchwood, everything about it, just in concept, in execution, in acting and writing, was a failure. The only minor amusements I ever had with it were first episode of season 2, where it seemed like they were at least acknowledging what a stupid show they created, and then it went back to being a stupid show. The business about Owen's corpse thing, which is kind of interesting. And then all of the bits of Children of Earth which didn't involve Torchwood.
Okay, well, I mean, my take on Torchwood was, like I say, the first season, atrocious with a couple of half...
better sci-fi than Torchwood.
Am I not allowed an opinion because you hate it so much?
That's basically where I'm going here, yeah. I mean, people are obviously welcome to like whatever shit they want, and I'm sure some people even enjoyed Andromeda, but they're still wrong. And Torchwood is just the most embarrassing show that I have ever seen kind of get undeserved attention. I would rather watch an entire Hex marathon than have to sit through the episode Countryside ever again. I would rewatch Hyperdrive before I rewatch Torchwood.
Okay. I quite enjoyed most of season 2.
I would even watch a couple of episodes of the Flash Gordon remake. Only a couple. I have standards.
Okay. Like, Rich, I don't know if you maybe quite understand the format of this show yet, but it's very important that you at no point sit on the fence. You need to actually be honest at all points, okay?
Well, I can't because YouTube's kind of terms and conditions prevent the kind of hate speech that I actually need to discuss how bad Torchwood was. All I really sort of need...
These will count as armoured enemies, so we won't be using maces.
Oh, I don't have a mace. I'm just going to hit it with my sword.
Do you not have an axe or something?
No, I don't think so. I've got a torch, or I can just jump over them.
Hold on.
Jeez.
Yeah, you haven't done a lot of tabletop roleplay, have you?
I've never done tabletop roleplay. I've played a lot of platform games, and most of the ones which I quite enjoy are fun.
This is a perfectly accurate recreation of what happens when you have a complete tool for a DM.
So it's a perfect recreation of playing with the kind of person you don't want to play with.
Yes, except this show's playing it for laughs. I'm
not really kind of seeing the laughs. It's like, so for me, it's kind of that sort of trick tends to work when the things are funny. I mean, have you ever played I Want to Be the Guy?
No, I've never heard of it.
You never heard of it? Okay, well, basically, it's kind of like Kaizo the game, or at least one of the games, like a deliberately impossibly...
No,
hard...
it's all spikes. Okay.
It's like a deliberately impossible platform, which obviously people have finished now many times on One Life, but initially that the kind of the gag is that it's like a remix of Mario and Kirby and Zelda and whatever, but it works because all the random stuff is funny. It's like I would assume
we've got to go somewhere else.
Yeah, it's like you're walking down a corridor, and then suddenly there'll be a scream, and Ryu from Street Fighter will just come dragon punching up and kill you, or the boss will be like a ludicrously big Blanca, or that kind of Zangief, I think actually, and it's sort of funny because like everything which happens is like it'll kill you, but it kills you in like a funny, over the top,
Oh no, that's the other pit, isn't it?
Yeah, you couldn't possibly have seen this coming kind of way, which. Yeah, it's fun to play and it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch people sort of suffer their way through it because there's always that kind of expectation of what's coming next. And so far, all that I'm getting from this one is what's coming next is bad game design. And deliberately or not, it's still shit. And kind of one of my big pet peeves is comedy games which try and parody shit things by doing the shit thing and then going, oh, that's a bit shit, isn't it? It's like, yes it is, but you've still made me do the shit thing, therefore you're still the dick. Looking at you, Bard's Tale comedy version.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm rather enjoying this.
Well, you like Torchwood, so...
I like some episodes of Torchwood.
You love Torchwood.
If you'd allowed me an opinion...
Show.
Yeah, well, you see that.
Cyberwoman was the best.
Oh God, Cyberwoman. That's my fanon theory for why Ianto turned out to be gay. He was just so shamed by his large part in possibly the worst episode of anything ever.
It is really between that and TNG's
he just couldn't touch a woman again.
It'd be nice if they'd at least, decided on that stuff, I mean, but of all that episode's sins, and wow, it had many, I like the fact that it just kicked off with the complete character derailment.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny that you say that And we're here again.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming that I can't see any other way to go except.
Well, hang on. There's a Look at the map. Oh, if you press your map, there's a little grey arrow on that opposite wall.
So it's like an invisible door or something.
I'm wondering.
Yep, there we go.
Ah! No! No! I regret nothing! I regret everything.
Truly, this is the Hall of Death. The only way out of here is death.
Yeah, I mean, I used to say, after watching Chris Chibnall's 2 episodes of Life on Mars...
You know you did, you know you did, you know you did. Sorry. I don't remember them being too awful. At least one of them.
They were amongst the best episodes.
I don't remember them. I remember sort of seeing his name and being, oh god, and then actually that was okay.
He did the one where the guy dies in the cells, and the Gov and Sam have got to find out what happened while they were out eating dinner. And he did a similar episode for season 2 in terms of, you know, internal investigations and stuff. And I said after watching both of those, you know, I suspect, give Chris Chibnall a police procedural.
Which is what he actually got, didn't he? Didn't he do like, was he doing...
Broadchurch, well this is it, I haven't seen it.
No, he was doing another one as well. Cause originally, he was going to doing one of like the CSI type shows, the London version. I don't think it ever came to pass.
Oh, for God's sake. I'm getting narked now.
No, I know he was going to do something like CSI London. It was like, if it wasn't CSI, it was like another show of
Not Law and Order.
It might be Law. I don't know. It was one of them. Weirdly, if I ever go on Mastermind, the life and works of Chris Chibnall will not be my chosen subject. But I do remember that Life from Mars I was kind of surprised. It's like, oh, okay, yes, this isn't bad. And then, of course, he wrote 42 for Doctor Who.
Oh, I'm so glad you agree with me at how atrocious 42 was.
It is one of the worst episodes of a not very good series. That's that series of Doctor Who, not Doctor Who in general.
Series 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, Series 3 is my least favourite, I will be honest. And that's despite the fact it's got some really good episodes in it.
I agreed. It was just sort of overall, it was just a bit of a mess.
In fact, for a season that's got some of Doctor Who's best episodes in it, or New Who's best episodes in it overall... Not most of them, but you know.
Was it?
It's surprisingly poor in other areas. And
I mean, 42. I don't really want to spend an hour of my life watching both the Doctor do pub quiz machines and Chris Chibnall completely destroy an awesome idea. Why has there never been a real-time episode of Doctor Who with time travel?
Well, exactly.
Do that show. I mean, it is clearly, you know, what it is crying out for. It is 24 with a TARDIS. Make that.
Yeah, it's a very much wasted opportunity. Go away, Snake. Die. Uh-oh. I was poisoned to death. That means another stupid jumping puzzle.
Ugh. Was that the series with Daleks Take Manhattan, or was that the previous one?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
So I know that was one of those episodes which just made me just consider never watching the show ever again.
That was Andrew Garfield in that as well. Oh, there's a segue. What did you think of the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies?
I have not seen them.
Haven't you?
I haven't liked any of the Spider-Man movies. Now, I should clarify. I don't mean like a sort of spitting hatred, you know, on the way of sort of Torchwood. Or I saw the first 2 Sam Raimi ones, and I didn't like them. And I never got around to seeing Amazing, because people were sort of saying it's not as good as the Sam Raimi ones. It's like, well... Meh.
Well, this is the thing. What I found is the people that love and still love the Sam Raimi movies are the ones that are very much against the Garfield movies. They're... it's not Danny Webb. It's Mark Webb is the director of those. Rather. Oh, fuck off! Rather appropriately. I thought they were brilliant. I'm a massive Spider-Man fan, and like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies, it was like Spider-Man by way of Dawson's Creek. It was teen angst crap, and they haven't. For me, I loved them when they were first released, but well, apart from the third, which was atrocious.
Well, yeah, I mean that was cinematic suicide, but
And bearing in mind that was the one with Venom, who's my favourite Spider-Man villain. And I was dying to see him on the big screen, and there was all that teasing, and then it was actually happening. And then, yeah.
And then that happened.
And then that, you know.
But like I said, I just never saw the others, because I would probably sort of watch them if they were just on TV or something, but I wasn't going to go to the cinema to watch another Spider-Man movie. It's like, you know, I get it, you know.
Well, I would really recommend the Andrew Garfield starring Spider-Man movies, 100%. Especially if you didn't like the Raimi movies, because they are completely different.
I just found the Raimi ones, I don't know what I didn't like about them specifically, but obviously the Green Goblin was the worst villain ever. But there was just something, it was like they were floaty. It's like I just didn't feel anything for any of the characters. And you know, I don't know Spider-Man that well, so I'm not really a comic reader, but the one which I sort of thought I knew was like kind of very sort of sarcastic and kind of quick-witted, not just dopey.
Well, exactly, and that's exactly what Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is. Just perfect, spot on comic book Spidey, and the plot's, you know, pretty good as well. And I'm really angry that Sony, for rights reasons, are choosing to reboot yet again. Rather than actually just giving us... I'm going to try using a bow, you know.
Was that anything to do with him being in not Avengers, the new Captain America, or is it a different thing?
Yes, I think it was part of... I mean, it wasn't entirely Sony's fault, but they were, you know, it was 50% their fault. Basically, it was the compromise they achieved with Marvel.
Do you know what I find amazing? And I'm willing to admit that I may be wrong about this one. I'm only kind of going from the trailers. But you know how many years ago Roger Corman, of all people, made that Fantastic Four movie, which was never intended to be seen, was made on a budget of tuppence. How is that still better than any of the Hollywood ones have managed to be?
It's not a bad movie, and the special effects were a lot better than I thought they'd be.
They're a lot better for a film which literally nobody gave a shit about, except for the actors who thought it was going to be in cinemas. But it's you know, the two Fantastic Four movies they did a while ago are just the worst superhero films ever. I mean, even Daredevil, you know, understands, you know, what a superhero movie is. You know, that it kind of requires, you know, stuff like superheroics.
Damn it.
You know, as opposed to just, you know...
Oh, don't tell me I've got to jump over that fucking chasm again. Die in a fire. I'm not blaming the game. I think the game's mechanics are fine. This multiplayer thing is a scenario written by somebody else. It's not the single-player game. It's not the single.
Isn't the single-player game the main character kind of ends up in a fantasy world or something?
No, they're D&D role-playing.
Yeah, but I thought the prophecy kind of got sucked into the actual game and then uses his RPG skills to...
Pretty much. Well, no, he's a newbie. He's an RPG newbie, so he's not getting very far. He decides to go for a wee, and when he gets into the bathroom, the lights get switched out, and when they come back on... when he switches on his lighter...
he's in a castle.
Yes, he's in a castle, and that's about as far as I got before
Captain
recording
N,
tonight.
The game newbie.
But, yes, this isn't the single-player campaign. Oh, for fuck's sake. This is a campaign written by somebody else for the multiplayer mode. I mean, it is from the developer, but it's not the game, you know. So it's like sometimes in RPGs you get a badly written campaign and it sucks, and sometimes you get a good campaign and it's great.
So it's authentic because it's shit.
It's an authentically shitty campaign. I'm not trying to make excuses, but I am saying it ties up with my experiences.
You see, I've just got more tolerance for that. Like, if it's funny, it's like, you know, if this was, I don't know, based on paranoia or something, then, you know, fair enough. It's just I'm not getting like the fun between the random deaths. It's like I just don't like this combat system at all. You know, it's just the feel of the controls, you know, the look of the whole thing, the incredible cheapness. It's just.
I rather suspect that this was designed for keyboard and mouse, and then the controller got added because they wanted to export to console.
But anyway, like I said, yeah, I still think it's amazing. The original Fantastic Four movie still looks like it's going to be the best one. I'm willing to be wrong if the new one is great. I'm not willing to pay £8 at my local View to find that out. But I mean, certainly the trailers look god-awful.
Oh, fuck this. I'm not fighting maggots. Die!
Oh, jeez. I still haven't seen Ant-Man, which I kind of want to go and see.
I haven't seen Ant-Man yet.
I'm told it's funny, and that's kind of what I sort of tend to want in my superhero films.
Don't die.
I don't want angst. Yeah, I really have no time for kind of superhero movie angst. Not in the sense that they can't ever show it, but like I just don't want that to be the backbone. It's like the plot line of I've got amazing powers and it sucks so much. Is
Yeah, no, I do agree.
I also don't want to see any more origin stories. It's
well, that yeah. Well, they're saying that the new Spider-Man will absolutely not be an origin.
Well, they're saying it's going to be mentioned in like the new series of Daredevil or something like that to kind of set him up separately.
What?
So.
Just.
But it's just in all of these cases.
I am on fire.
Really, you're doing that well?
Shh. I will get to one of these fucking coffins.
But I always find that they always sort of seem to think the origin story is far more interesting than it actually is, and in almost every case, that's 10 minutes at the start of your movie. It's like just do it, move on, we're fine. You know, I got bitten by a radioactive spider. Now I have powers. We're done. We're out here. Let's actually have some, a proper story for the main thing this time. I mean, for all of its sins, and obviously it has many. I do quite like how the Daredevil film did it, which like kind of here's a flashback, here's how it all happened, and now movie. Unfortunately, it was that.
God's sake!
Unfortunately, it was that movie, but you know the basic point was sort of still appreciated.
We've had a lot of superhero chat this week.
Well, there's a lot of superhero movies. Hasn't Marvel got like another 17 coming in the next couple of years?
Oh well, absolutely, and you can't blame them really. They're making stupid amounts of money, and Marvel's gone from being bankrupt and being bought out to being stupidly profitable again.
Well, I've got to say, I'm really looking forward to the new TV seasons. So I prefer that for superhero stuff. I think they work better as like a continuous thing. I mean, Daredevil was brilliant.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed Daredevil because I thought it was fantastic. Have you watched Sense8?
I haven't.
You need to.
I've got Netflix. I just haven't got around to it. It kind of lost me as a. I will watch it. But it kind of got on my wrong side with the words from the Wachowski brothers. Oh, sorry, not whatever it is they're now referred to the Wachowskis. Sorry,
they are actually crediting themselves as the Wachowski siblings.
The Wachowski siblings, yes. That was an accident slip of the tongue from knowing them as the Wachowski brothers from the Matrix.
That's perfectly understandable. Yes,
it's like what are they? Is it just the Wachowskis, or they changed it? Yeah.
Sometimes they're credited as the Wachowskis, and in fact, I think when they get writing credits on Sense8. They are credited as the Wachowskis, but the last I forget what it was, but the last film I saw with their names attached, they were credited as the Wachowski siblings.
Is that Jupiter Ascending, or?
No, I haven't seen that. I can't remember now. Or it might have been Sense8, or one of the announcements for Sense8. Or
I haven't seen any of their stuff for a long time, mostly because I didn't even like The Matrix, and again, I didn't hate The Matrix. I just didn't think it was that big of a deal. And the other stuff kind of sort of since then, it's like from the director of Speed Racer just doesn't do it for me.
No, well, nor should it, I think. But no, Sense8 is absolutely fantastic. The Wachowskis work very well with Joe Straczynski, and
real Ghostbusters reboot coming.
Sorry?
Real Ghostbusters reboot coming.
Let's hope not. I don't think he'd be interested in doing it anyway.
I'm actually really curious about that film.
Oh, what, the new Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it. I can see how it could work really badly, but I can also see how it could work really well. And I like the idea they're going with that. I really hate having to think of it as exceptional. It's like kind of, you know, the way that you kind of instinctively want to have like the all-female Ghostbusters in a way that you would never say if it was an all-male team, like it was. And it really bugs me that kind of is still the thing which doesn't feel right. But I want that to feel right. So I'm really hoping it's successful and, you know, sets a suitable, you know, precedent. It's like, this kind of film can work. I mean, Bridesmaids was really fun, so, you know, fingers crossed.
I still haven't seen Bridesmaids, but I want to.
It's more of a romantic comedy than I was expecting it to be. You can very clearly see the fighting that kind of went on between the different kind of creative sides. Here's the gross out scene because somebody successfully argued for a gross out scene. Here's the romantic scene because somebody kind of went after that. It's mostly notable for the main character being such a screw up in the way that kind of usually it's the guy in romantic comedies, and kind of, but not kind of sort of taken to the level that it's sort of trying to, that it feels like it's trying to make a point. Just it is. It's like she's a screw up, and from that humour arises, and I like that. I sort of respected that approach to it.
You know what I really hated, and I thought I would absolutely adore? Pitch Perfect.
I have not seen it.
Don't.
Isn't that Jennifer Aniston?
No, Pitch Perfect is...
Pitch Perfect. Sorry, I was thinking Picture Perfect. Sorry.
No, Pitch Perfect. That's Anna Kendrick. And, you know, it's about an all-female a cappella group going up against an all-male a cappella group. You know, it's basically an underdog movie, but with an a cappella group. It was billed as... Well, that's not their description, but it was kind of sold as Bring It On, but with a cappella singing rather than cheerleading.
Right.
You know, smart, wry, funny, female written, blah, blah, blah. So I thought, great. You know, I love Bring It On. Let's go and watch this. And it's appalling. It lost me almost at the very beginning with all of its funny because she's fat jokes.
Oh, God, yeah.
And they try to be... they think they're being clever about it. Like, no, she acknowledges that people make fun of her because she's fat. Look how... It's like, no. Having the character point out how beastly people are to overweight people does not excuse you yourself being beastly to overweight people.
Yeah, it's one of the nice things about Bridesmaids, like I said, is just that the characters have actual comic personas. So I was saying, Melissa McCarthy is basically a psychopath, and not necessarily not in an evil way. So just that kind of that is the joke. It's how it works. You know, the main character is a screw up. Kind of another one is sort of desperately trying to be, you know, the perfect party thrower because she's got nothing else going on in her life. But it's like they're all different. It's not like just sort of falling into the one character archetype. And it has that kind of crucial thing with comedy in that everybody has to have flaws. And kind of it's just the most basic rule, which is always forgotten in these things. And so you get things like Kajansky in Red Dwarf, the later one. It's like kind of, and her joke is that she's perfect and she's around all of these slobs. Or you have, you know, Penny in The Big Bang Theory, where the joke is she's not a geek, unlike all of these geeks. It's like kind of no. You know, it's funny when all of the characters are part of the same. You know,
are you waiting
ensemble.
for me somewhere?
No, I'm trying to work out how the hell we get round to. So that's been flipped. It doesn't seem to have gone anywhere.
There's a story spot down here.
Oh yeah, I found that.
Yes, but we both have to stand in it, otherwise it won't activate.
Truly, this is award-winning game design.
Let it go.
Let it go.
No,
I can't
no
hold it back anymore. Oh right, okay, yeah. Well, obviously the story part would produce a ladder. That makes total sense. Oh, what a surprise, Spikes.
Yes.
Well, I'll be back after I've walked back from the previous respawn point.
Oh, I hate this.
You may be wondering if I recommend UnEpic, and you may be surprised to find out that I don't. In fact, I'm currently thinking that I would quite like the developers to have a really scratchy itch they just can't get rid of. You know, right between the buttocks. It's really annoying because every time they go to scratch it, their hand comes back and it's just brown and sticky, and there's no.
Again,
there's no sink nearby and kind of nothing to wipe it on except for their own clothes, and so they're walking around itching but now smelling their own shit. That's basically where I'm going here with my review of UnEpic.
I would rather you poured your scorn on the person that wrote this campaign, not the whole system as a whole.
I'm sorry, I'm going with collective punishment on this one.
And this is why I'll never vote for you.
Well, when I take power, you won't have to vote. Or indeed be able to.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So, yes, Pitch Perfect. The fat jokes and lesbian jokes, as in, it's amusing that somebody's gay.
Yes, that's totally not the wrong decade of the wrong millennium.
Yeah, it's just like, fuck off. Die of the bad AIDS.
Oh, and you're complaining about my suggested punishments?
Yeah, but you don't know who I'm directing it at.
Well, I don't know who made UnEpic. I just want their entire future to be one of itchy shit fingers.
Well, speaking of...
my business card says harsh but fair.
Speaking of developers that deserve itchy shit fingers, should we talk about Gearbox?
Oh, God.
Go on, because I've already had my rant about this.
Well, there isn't really a rant. It's just that Randy Pitchford is a marketing guy. Everything he says is to sell games, and that's fine. Just don't take it seriously. It's the guy who previously would complain when websites announce, I think it was the new Borderlands coming out, by basically sort of saying, we will decide when this is announced. It's like, how dare you do your job and report news? And it's like, oh, Randy. And then all of his rants about reviewers not liking Duke Nukem Forever on Twitter and his selective retweeting. It's just, yes, it's Randy doing what Randy does. It's like, Randy talks bullshit he talks bullshit about games and shit about people. Derek Smart punches Coke machines and appears if you say his name 3 times. David Cage will probably never make a game that doesn't have an unfortunate undercurrent of misogyny wrapped in some nice ideas, just to frustrate me, by doing a whole lot of really clever stuff that I would love to point at and kind of say, isn't that really, really clever? And then I remember it's from David Cage, the man who doesn't know how to plot a basic story to save his life. I don't know who else is annoying at the moment. I can't think of anyone offhand.
Well, I'm glad I'm not on the list.
Oh, and Matt Dillon, who makes far too long videos about retro consoles. We've all seen Sonic. We know what Sonic looks like.
Which meant you watched it towards the end.
No, I just skipped through.
Liar.
Actually, that did look like a really cool device. I'm referring to the Retron 5 for those people who haven't seen that video.
Yeah,
which, despite what I'm saying, is well worth 17 hours of your life.
17 hours? Fuck off. Some of us haven't done a full Game & Watch on how long was it? 4-hour game? FMV game?
Oh, Blue Heat.
Yes.
Hey, the 3 people who've watched that all the way through probably really liked it.
Yes, but you're one of those people.
Well, I had to go and check all my sensor bars were right. Top sanity tip: if you're doing videos for YouTube, which has fairly prudish sort of sense of sensibilities, possibly don't do a game where great swathes of it take place in a strip club.
No. The Retron 5 is a great little console. I ended up having a small chat with another YouTuber in the comments, and he was saying he was aware of it and he heard it getting a lot of hate from people.
I only heard bad things. People saying that the emulation quality was poor.
Well, yeah. A lot of reviews came out at the time that it was initially released, and there was a bit of a to-do, basically, because Hyperkin, as it turned out, they released the console, and like a lot of these things, the interest and demand far outstripped the initial supply. So, only relative few people got their hands on them, and somebody sort of noted that it seemed that the emulators it was running on were open source emulators. In other words, they shouldn't be being put in a...
Fuck all the fuck off.
They shouldn't be going into a commercial product because, open source, any changes you make to the code, you're supposed to share back to the community, and they hadn't done that. Now, they did some some backwards engineering, and they found out, they actually confirmed that the emulator cores in there were allegedly ripping off other people's work. I say allegedly insofar as the claim from Hyperkin, I believe, was that they weren't aware. They were aware of what the emulators were,
but maybe not all the components within them.
No, they weren't aware that they misunderstood what.
So they thought it was BSD rather than open source or something.
I'm sorry, I just had another stupid death, and I'm beginning to think that getting across that chasm is pointless.
Well, I lit the thing and it kind of lit up the other side of it, so I was assuming there must be a hidden wall or something.
Let's use the map. Yes, there is. On the left, there's a wall on the the right hand side. So I'm going to try that for whatever time we've got left. So yes, so it got pulled from sale while this was investigated. Hyperkin basically said, "Yeah, sorry, our mistake." And as far as I'm aware, they then they paid the sums they should have paid and the royalties they should have paid. Now, the second problem it had was the early firmware. It was released too early, but the problem is it was already late. They'd had problems in development, and they had to release it because they were losing money with pre-sales and whatnot. So
there's another there's another ladder on the right hand side of that screen away from the chasm. On the screen with the chasm, there's a ladder over on the right.
The first chasm, the one that we kept dying on before.
I do not know.
I've lost the will to live, to be honest. Well, wait for me. I can see. I just saw you walking off, so I'll follow you.
This way, Graham.
So yes, and I didn't, and I sort of at that point I was like, oh well, maybe it's a good job I didn't have the money to get one, but I ended up getting one about a year later, just on a whim, because I'd gone and looked at some other reviews and they were actually quite positive. So I thought, oh, okay. And as it turned out, my initial supposition that they'd fixed most of the problems in firmware updates was absolutely correct, and now it runs absolutely beautifully. So. Yes, we still have to jump over this, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Stupid Herbert says!
Oh.
I miss the glory days of Sonic All-Star Racing.
Well, he is the fastest thing alive. Do you know I tweeted Sonic the Hedgehog the other day on your behalf?
Yes, asking why he needed a car.
Yes.
Did you ever get a response?
No.
Oh.
And that's a shame.
Well, there's an episode of one of the Justice League cartoons where the Flash buys a van. Okay, there's a story point over here. I'm just going to wait in this alcove to get here. Where basically, so the Flash does an advert in order to buy to get some money. He spends on a van, and Green Lantern is basically, "What do you need a van for?" And he opens it up, and it's just basically his little love nest.
Well, of course it is. I do love the fact that in the Justice League cartoon, you never find out who that Flash is.
It's Wally West, isn't it?
I don't think it's ever established.
No, there's a scene where they're all sitting around a table. They've got a sort of line now that we're kind of a team, we should probably trust each other by giving away our identities. And Batman just kind of goes around the table: John Stewart, Wally West, Clark Kent.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, it's one of the very early episodes. But it's definitely Wally rather than Barry.
Well, I didn't think for a second it'd be Barry Allen.
Well, it's even less likely to be Jay. But I can't wait for the next series of The Flash. I loved it. There was only one thing I didn't like about the first series of The Flash, and that was the bullshit, don't let the girlfriend in on the secret plot bullshit. And that's fixed. So, Series 2, I'm really looking forward to.
What, she's found out?
Right, other way, this way.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, she actually finds out herself, which I quite liked.
Okay.
Oh, God, it's a boss fight. Look,
Yes.
I don't care, I'm just going to run straight into it and...
Behold the power of Mike Dawson.
There's a fantastic video on YouTube called Make a Man Out of Mike Dawson. Is this the Binding of Isaac now?
It is a turd monster. Okay.
He is the great mighty Pooh, and he's going to throw his shit at you. You play Conkers?
Do I play Conkers?
No, Conkers Bad Fur Day.
Do you know I never did?
Oh, it's the most memorable boss on the N64.
Oh, I'm well aware of Conkers Bad Fur Day, and I even own a copy, but I've never got around to playing it because it's an N64 game, and N64 games used to look shit on old tellies. They look even more shit on new tellies.
Well, there's a remake, but I said one of the villains is the Great Mighty Pooh, who's an opera-singing, pile of shit. And his entire thing...
We need to find a way down to those coffins.
Yeah, I just haven't seen one.
Well, we've seen the screen with them on, we just haven't been able to get to it. That's the spikes. That was the sound of Richard's temper snapping.
No, my sort of temper is quite sanguine. I'm just looking forward to when we're done with this recording and I can uninstall this game, reinstall it, uninstall it. Basically, I want to bring it down to the point where it feels its suffering is over, and then continue, again, and again, and again, until all that remains is a quivering mass of code, which I will then delete and install Mist over.
It's very important at this stage you don't make me laugh, because I will fall off platforms. Right, now, I suspect... there is a secret passage somewhere. And I suspect it has something to do with killing worms.
I'm kind of reminded of how, when I played Shovel Knight for the first time, it's got a really cool gimmick where basically you find these lamps throughout the level. And if you smash them, then you get gems. Obviously, the gems are worth money and points and all that kind of stuff. So it's mostly a bragging rights thing that, I can get through the whole level without needing the respawn points. But I didn't realise that's what they were to start with. I thought you had to smash them to make them work. And so I was getting all the way to the end of these stages and I had to go all the way back to the start. And just being, this cannot be as hard as I am making it.
Okay. We can't get through that way.
Well, there's nothing secret kind of flagged on the thing.
No, so I'm now in this room. Ah!
I don't know if that did anything apart from light the torches.
Yes. Look, there's a... Can you see just about there is a ladder going up that way? Bottom...
Yeah.
The coffin room, bottom left corner.
So I smashed the wall?
Well, no, I don't suspect.
So I thought I tried doing that.
Yeah, you activated a trap there.
And I dodged it, as I've dodged it many times now.
How do you dodge it?
You press down, and then it goes over your head, and so...
So
I know that this room was trapped, because there were a whole load of bats when you kind of flick the lever.
Yeah, but they're gone now.
There we go.
I hit the wall.
I jumped up and hit it, yeah. Itchy shit fingers.
You realise that's what the video's going to be called now.
Well, as long as
Itchy shit fingers.
As long as it also goes on Metacritic. Alright, let's try and kill this shithead and shit body and shit everything else.
Ooh. I like the little bum wiggle that we do. Why don't you get on the right hand side, I'll get on the left.
Well, he throws indiscriminately, so it hardly seems to matter.
Yeah, but if you stand right close to him, they don't hit you.
Yeah, he can still get you with some of them when you get smaller.
Oh, he slowly... Yeah. Oh, he's making little babies of his own self. He's birthing poos.
I feel like I should have leveled up more, but then I remember I don't give a shit.
Well, as long as you're happy.
So, any other topics while the timer runs out?
Yeah. What were we? Oh.
Well, I was kind of raving about the Flash and kind of looking forward to Series 2.
Yeah, I've never really watched the DC universe on the small screen.
See, I know the DC one much better than Marvel, but never from comics. I've never been a comic reader, but I do like animation, so I've seen most of the shows.
Yeah.
And they've had some brilliant ones. I mean, Young Justice from the guy who did Gargoyles was really, really good. Got canned after Season 2, but they did some really advanced stuff. Hang on a second. And obviously Batman the Animated Series is brilliant, and everyone knows that. Oh.
Do you know, I think... Is it me, or does he shrink when he does a poo?
Yes, he does.
So we should just kill the little ones.
Well, he also shrinks when you kill him, I think.
My point is, if we just stand back and kill the little ones and...
Well, try hurrying, I might be able to stay alive. Oh no, there we go, dead. Yes, he has an area attack.
I've got another idea then, because I've got a bow. So if you stand in front of me...
So you're literally going to try and wrap this shit in a bow?
Yes, let's go with that. What's that? That's a magic one with no charges left. Oops. Right. Oh, yes, I have to... Hold on a second, don't...
I will not activate the poo.
Do not activate the poo. I need to sort out my magic cheese. Oh, I've used it all. So readings are unpredictable. Okay. Yeah, fuck it. Sign shortcut. I've got magic mushrooms I haven't tried. Fuck knows what they do. And let's... Sign shortcut.
Thrilling sidecar action.
Alright, so if you stand in front of me killing the turds, okay. I'll sort of shoot at the turd with the bow until my arrows run out.
Alright.
So, let's give this sucker a go. Oh, that is time! But let's give it a go.
Okay. It's kind of ironic on this show of all things, trying to cut the crap.
Well, yeah, that's absolutely true.
Quiplash champion, occasionally.
Right, that's me officially out of ammo.
That was a brave attempt. It could have gone better. Oh, jeez.
I don't think we're going to kill this fucker.
Hey, Matt, are you drunk? So you look a bit shit-faced.
No, really, no. No.
No. I'm about to die as well. And I give no shit.
And but you received plenty. All right. So, we have gone...
By UnEpic.
I've just discovered irritatingly that the Skype call hasn't been recorded, which means I'm going to have to match up this fucking dialogue by ear.
Ooh, that's gonna be really awful. I bought a banana. Cucumber? Cheesecake.
What?
Yes, welcome, Matt.
Oh dear.
Are we playing UnEpic?
No, stop it. We're not doing this again. We're not time looping. No, absolutely not. Right, so we have gone from nudity of Game of Thrones to the DC small screen universe.
Via not buying UnEpic.
Via not buying UnEpic.
I'm not going to say I dislike it, but it is now my nemesis, and I feel the urge to take out many, many marketing campaigns instructing people that if they were given a choice between either buying a copy of UnEpic or alternatively giving it to a cancer support charity, and by that I mean a charity that supports cancer, then I'm still going to recommend you go for the latter.
So,
But it is still better than that episode of Torchwood.
Apparently it is still better than that episode of Torchwood. Right. This has got about as wrong as things may go wrong. So yes, that's what we've done. I'd like to thank Mr. Cobbett as ever for joining me. Mr. Cobbett, do your little pimpy thing.
I will try. Visit my website, richardcobbett.com. My YouTube channel is Probably Richard, or The Richard Perspective. Also have a Patreon. So far, no luck with the rich millionaires or billionaires. I'm now willing to lower my standards to mere thousandaires, but only if they give me all of it. I still have some standards remaining. And, of course, just remember that every pound or dollar that you give to me will go towards not buying a copy of UnEpic. And, therefore, God would approve. That's all I'm saying.
Allegedly, yes, God would approve. So, yes.
I can also just chip in one other thing. If you want to play a game which sort of borrows like RPG kind of things but isn't shit, Card Hunter's now on Steam, and it's pretty good.
Okay.
Give me the money first, then Card Hunter. Back to you.
Back to me.
In the studio, Matt.
You've been in a funny mood this week, sir. Right. Yes, Geek Planet Online, of course, itself does have a Patreon of its own. You can find that at patreon.com/Geek Planet Online. So if you like these videos, if you like our podcast, if you like anything that we do, and you'd like to help keep us running, please pop over there and consider becoming a patron. If you become a patron, you get access to Geek Planet Online's exclusive audio magazine, GPO magazine. You get the ad-free version, and you get it 2 weeks ahead of the public, who are getting it on the 31st of July, or the last day of every month.
Tax day.
With the first issue going out on the 31st of July, so next Friday of all things. I will remind you about the One More Go podcast, and Kim and I have just recorded another episode that's gone up, and that's a Satoru Iwata tribute episode, and we also go through our backlog of listener feedback, so that was quite interesting. And as ever, don't forget to check out geekplanetonline.com itself, our parent site, for all the best in reviews, features and podcasts slapped up every single day of the week. I think that's about it for me. So it's goodbye from me, goodbye from Rich, and this is One More Go reminding you that games are for everybody, so spread the love.
Bye.
Bye. I was waiting for a sarcastic comment. No, not this week. I left pause.
Don't buy UnEpic.
Bye.